Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are in for a treat. Remember that whole UFO flap about Greenland? Yeah, we're going to get into that with Christopher Macklin coming up here momentarily. But first, let us say hello to each and every one of you as we prepare for tonight's show, including we have Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position, Race Fan with a silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee with a bronze medal tonight. We say hello next to Paula Fost and Necessary Dialogue. Skip to Malou, good morning to you. Hope you're ready for a good show. Mel WD-40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't talk about Greenland unless you're nice and lubed. So thank you, Mel. We really appreciate it. Robert Lamoth, how you doing? Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah. I love you, my dear. I hope you enjoy tonight's show. It'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to have a great time. That is for sure. Thunderhead, how are you tonight? Little Cam over on YouTube. Literally, why is that not going on? There it is. All right, kicking off this super chat tonight. Thank you, Little Cam. This super chat comes after deadlifting 900 pounds 22 times at the gym tonight. Good job, Little Cam. Good job working out. All right, let's continue on. Tyler 420, how you doing? Nice to see you. Luscious Jules, good to have you here. Carol Amario, thanks for coming on in. Ozzy Ange is here. Ozzy Ange will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Jaquetta, how are you tonight? Thank you for joining us as we scroll on down for our roll call. There's Shadow Feather. How you doing? And who is next on our list? Well, we got to get through a long conversation of probably good words, but I just don't have time to read it. Operation Shutdown. El Cid is here. El Cid will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Be gentle. This is El Cid's first time signing autographs, so be gentle. All right, Desert Rat, how you doing? Les Paul Holland strumming away in Australia. And number 44 in your program, wearing the trichrona tonight, we have number 44, as I said, starting at left wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. He's in the Olympics right now, hoping for a gold. He'll have to settle for silver or bronze once Canada gets through you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being a little patriotic there. Moving on down, Road Flare and United We Stand. Nice to see you both here. Thomas Rock, good to have you here. Hi there, Pam Harrison, Frankie B. Walter Kochabinski, how you doing? The lovely, the talented D. Henderson has returned. Hillbilly Herb, how are you? Jay Truthseeker, nice to see you. As we scroll on down on our roll call, up next, we say hello to Mickey G. How are you? The Ferret, what's going on, my friend? Nice to have you here. Tim Mothman and his goatee, two separate entities. Nice to see you. And Hillbilly Herb, good to have you here. And Bob Thorson, thank you for joining us. Undead Jed, nice to see you. Hello there, Erica Stover. Matthew Goodka, nice to see you. And who is next on our list? Well, let's take a look here. It's Al Garay over on Twitch. Ran 14 miles on the treadmill backwards in 6.5 minutes. Backwards running on the treadmill. That is anaerobic. Aerobic would be running forward. Anaerobic is running backward. Good job, Algaray, tonight. Thank you. All right. And let's see here. Mike Rivers, nice to have you here. And hopefully the buffering doesn't hurt you too much. Michelle, how are you? Nice to have you here. East Coast Turnaround on X. And Jessica Davenport. Good to have you both here. We're going to get the radio side going. Hold on. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott, and we have Christopher Macklin in. UFOs in Greenland, is it making it a cosmic hotspot? We're going to find out here very shortly. We are in roll call on our YouTube side right now as we say hello to Kathy Evans and Edwin Guerra. How are you? Welcome. And who else is next here? I'm Hardcore over on X. How are you, Robert Anthony? Nice to see you. And let's see here. Dr. Bob, good to have you here. We're 20 seconds away, and I think we're almost caught up here. Julie Rios, nice to see you. And Louise, thanks for coming on in. And Super Chat is open. Be like Little Cam. It is a wonderful way to support what we do on our show. Hi, Sensational Shelley. Horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon and the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We are about to have an amazing show with you tonight as we're going to talk about UFOs, Greenland, and the importance. Maybe there's a crash there. Maybe there is something bigger there than what we know. We're going to find out. Dr. Christopher Macklin will be here momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. Then Robin Haynes will join us for the cryptid Q&A, so be ready for that as well. Let's get right to it tonight. Dr. Christopher Macklin is widely known for his work as an energetic healer and UFO researcher, specializing in supporting individuals who believe they have experienced negative extraterrestrial encounters or human trauma. And his approach focuses on spiritual and energetic clearing, including helping clients address unwanted presences, cleanse homes and land, and very much their entire world around them. Now, blending spiritual insight with intuitive practices and research-based perspective, Dr. Macklin speaks internationally on mind, body, and spirit wellness. His work explores themes of consciousness, multidimensional awareness, and holistic health, resonating with audience seeking alternative paths to emotional and spiritual well-being. Yes, it's going to be good. His website, globalenlightenmentproject.com. Let's bring him on in, shall we? Dr. Christopher Macklin, you were just on a couple months ago, but we're glad to have you back. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, Dave. Thanks for having me back. Bless your heart. It's wonderful to be here. And it's wonderful to see everybody. I may say hi to the whole audience as well, especially the people in the Ozarks, because I'm living here in the Ozarks.
Absolutely. It's so good to have you back. And, the last time we had you on, we kind of went down a spiritual path with you. But tonight we're taking more of a UFO track. I mean, people may know you from Global Enlightenment Network.com, as a spiritualist, but you also love the UFO topic as well.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of experience with UFOs. I've had a lot of experience with Greys, different factions, Anunnaki, Draconians, I've dealt with them all, and it's very interesting. So yeah, I've had a lot of insight, certainly with craft, I've seen quite a number of craft. So it's been an interesting journey, especially dealing with the Greys. I went to one ranch where the Greys were actually destroying, it was a sanctuary, and they were actually destroying the horses. And the guy was really upset because they'd eat them, like eat one of the horses. And in the morning, the horse was dead. And so we shut it down. But it took about 2 days to shut it down. So that was interesting.
When you are, kind of going through this entire process of dealing with UFOs, ETs, the spiritual aspect, the spiritual guardianship of it all. I mean, how does that kind of affect what you are doing on a daily basis? I mean, it is kind of an interesting aspect of humanity that we really don't understand, is it?
I don't think we do, no. I mean, you can get influenced by, beings. They can attach to you. On a daily basis, I remove beings. I mean, are they extraterrestrial? They are terrestrial, but some of them actually live under the planet. For example, Anunnaki, the Draconians do, Luciferians, and obviously the Greys are off planet, but they come here and, start meddling. I mean, not all the Greys are bad. The tall Greys, some of them have actually, benevolent, and they want to help us. And thank goodness we have a lot of factions who do want to help us. Otherwise, I really do think this planet will be in big trouble right now. So, yeah.
Well, why do you think this planet would be in big trouble?
Well, because the transition, if you look at it at the moment, the planet's kind of undergoing a massive shift, and people are struggling with it big time. And I think with the different factions going on, for example, in the 1980s, I think it was 1986, they're not allowed to interfere. We're talking about the good guys like Melchizedek. I was born as Melchizedek being, but we're talking about the Palladians, Arcturians. Arcturians do a lot of work for us, and they actually have prevented some, like atomic type bombs going off. They've actually disabled them at various points of contention. And it was agreed that in 1986 that they can't interfere without a collective consciousness, or, that's why, Starseed people come down here and say, hey, guys, we need some help. And after 1986, there was they measured the consciousness of people, saying that we do not want a nuclear war, and therefore they were allowed to interfere because that would be stopping it. So they are helping us a lot. There's a lot of things they're doing, helping with grids, helping with, stabilizing the planets. So, yeah.
Tell us about how you got introduced to ET interaction.
Well, a couple of times I've had the Greys turn up, and I've had the first one I remember was the age of 4. I've been attacked all my life. When I was 2 days old, 8 strokes, burnt my back when I was 4, and then when I came out of hospital, I'd spent 2 years of my 4 years of life in hospital. So when I came out of hospital, I remember lying in bed, and one night there was an Anunnaki. I mean, it's an interdimensional being. They can switch in this dimension, but they can also switch out. And it just showed up in my room, but it was actually in the 4th dimension. So I was kind of screaming, Dad, there's a dinosaur thing in the corner of the room. And of course, he comes in, can't see it, it's there, and I can see through the veil, which is really interesting. I can tune it in or out. Because, if you just saw it all the time, if you went into a restaurant, for example, and you saw people's attachments like Anunnaki attached to people and Luciferian type beings attached to people, it's not a very nice sight. So luckily I can actually tune it out. So I've got that gift, and I've seen them. And then the Greys turned up and wanted to abduct me. I think it was when I was about 5, and they tried. But by then, I'd learned to, really just in my mind say, get out of my room. I didn't say, don't give you permission. Just get out. I'm not going, and from that, your map of intent, which is in quotes prayer, prayer is a map of intent. If you have enough power for something, you say, I don't give you permission, then, and really state that out loud, the energy, the dipoles, nerves are dipoles, you're sending that out to the universe, and it will react to that map of intent. It's been amazing. It's been a crazy journey for me.
What is the strangest ET encounter you have researched?
I actually think it's going to that ranch. It was insane, because I went there for a weekend, and it was actually in Arizona. And so I went there, and the chap who owns it's not alive anymore, bless his heart, but he wanted me to come down, and I spent 2 days, and he said the portal opens here, and what happens is the portal opens, the Greys walk through, they start messing, and destroy one of the horses, and then they just disappear. So I spent the first day figuring out how to open the portal, codes, things like this. And eventually, I think it was about on Sunday, it was Sunday, I can't remember what time, maybe 11, 12 o'clock. Suddenly there was a sonic boom. What happened is the portal opened, but he said it normally opens, in the by the ground, but it opened about 300 or 400 feet in the air. And it was interesting because I was watching it, and there was like beings and craft and things coming out of it. Like, wow, this is amazing. But then I've got some guardians, Arcturian guardians, which are 3 ships, and so they turned up, and I was going, what? They were about a mile away, and they just appeared, and they were actually going in and out. So they go behind each other, in and out, just floating around. 5 minutes later, the military helicopters came out, and probably thinking, what do we do with these? But anyway, so I used telepathy. I said, what are you guys doing here? And they literally said, making sure you don't do stupid things. And okay. So, and I think they modified, I think in some way that instead of opening the portal on the ground, because they know that I'll probably end up walking through it, and then you're going to end up somewhere that you've never been, and would you come back? So they modified it, I think, is what my intuition said, to make sure it's 300 feet in the sky, so you're not going in it, because they know what I'm like, I actually have no fear. So that was interesting. So anyway, it took about 40, 50 minutes. I was working on it, and then I just shut it down, and it was gone for good. And then when we shut it down, as soon as that happened, the Arcturian craft disappeared. So yeah, that was, and we had pictures of it. So unfortunately, I don't have the pictures, and the gentleman's passed away, but it's called Stardust Ranch in Arizona.
Yes, I interviewed him a number of years ago.
Yeah, John, what was his second name? I can't remember, John. Anyway, great guy, bless him. So yeah, he wrote a book about it, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah,
John allegedly cut an alien Grey in half with a samurai sword.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Absolutely. So I never saw that, but I certainly saw what he's talking about.
He told us that was his most famous story, was that he hacked one in half, and then it disappeared.
Yeah, it probably switched time and space. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so it's been interesting. I've seen craft. Bad interactions. I also see like Native Americans, even the land we're on. We've got 40 acres in the Ozarks, and we actually got Bigfoot down here. It's come up not very close, but I've seen it, and we have a lot of activity with Native Americans who have passed over. But of course, when they pass over, John Edmonds, that's it. Harrow said, John Edmonds, yeah, and I saw his wife, bless her. So, we've had a lot of interactions, and they just come and go. I never move them on, because I think, to me, it's very important that Native Americans are very important here. I mean, it's their land, and I believe that if they're not making a kerfuffle or messing about, I think it's okay to let them stay, Now, if they're damaging your house or something, then I do move them on. But if they're here peacefully and, you can live in harmony with them, I think it's important to honor them, and because they've taken a vow that we're looking after this land, and I've just built on their land. So, you know, of course, you know, yeah.
Do
So
you
I always,
think aliens live here? Do you think there are bases here?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think there's definitely bases in Antarctica. We have in Antarctica, they've got tall greys. They've got the tall blondes. They call them tall blondes, but they're actually Nordics. They go back millions of years. They're here, and they're here to help us. You know, well, not all the tall greys. You know, there's malevolent tall greys who want to kind of, you know, enslave us, destroy us. But the tall greys who have redeemed themselves, they're really here to help, because I think they've had enough to watching humanity be enslaved for all this time, you know, with the firmament around the planet and all this sort of thing. So, yeah.
When you kind of look at the ET contact that people have, how does that compare to, say, people who are having ghostly paranormal encounters or cryptid encounters? What's the difference?
Well, I think ghostly encounters are people who have passed on, but maybe have not passed on properly. So they're kind of stuck between worlds. I mean, I've had some encounters like that. So they come because they sometimes need help. Or what can happen also is that if you pass over and, you know, you have your life review, you know, you go through that, and then you integrate with the 5th or the 8th, 12th, wherever you came from, you know, it's different for every person. You can say, well, look, I want to come back and support the person. I know now a lot of people who pass over are actually coming back, and they're supporting. They're not here permanently, but if the person wants them, they will show up, and you can feel their energy. You know, you can really feel their energy. Now, that's passing over. Obviously, you've got reptilians who live on the planet. They can actually, you know, appear before you. I remember having a well-known producer, a radio host, well-known radio host. And what happened is his wife was slight, and, you know, obviously I'm not going to say who he is because it's confidential, but he said, I don't understand it, because when my wife gets angry, and he was like 6'4", and she's like slight, like, you know, 5 foot, whatever, you know, and he said she's very slight, and yet she actually gets me and throws me across the room when she gets angry. I don't understand it. I said, well, I do. Because what happens with Anunnaki, if you've got an attachment means, for example, Anunnaki can be 10'7" tall. But here they're a spirit, you know, they're a consciousness. But of course, in their other dimension, they can shapeshift here. But in the 4th dimension, they're an actual being. They look like velociraptors type shape. So if one of those attached to you, it's very powerful, which means it's very muscly, you know, it's a lot stronger than we are. So what it can do, when someone gets angry, it can actually react and switch in this dimension for a quarter of a second, say. So it switches in this dimension. So you get angry, you switch in this dimension, it throws you across the room and switches out again. You look back, what the earth had happened here? And I've seen it a number of times. A lot of people, I mean, I work with about 3,000 people a week with healing, and you see all sorts of things going on. It's just incredible.
How many people do you think know they are being abducted? Like, out of every 10 people that are out there, Chris, that are abducted, how many people actually know it's happening to them, in your opinion?
Let me just ask. I would say about 60%. I think what happens is they get their mind wiped. You can't wipe the subconscious, but you can wipe the conscious. So what happens is that they go through their life, they know something's wrong, you know, and after a while, it starts to bleed back into the conscious mind, and then suddenly, oh my God, I was abducted. I mean, the abductions are changed. I don't really know this, but what's interesting is, and that's, you know, 60% of people who have been abducted get to know about it. I don't really know this, but the Greys used to think, you know, they were, and this is the reticulars, the one who did the deals with all the governments and abduct people, whatever. They used to think that if you steal eggs and sperm, and it's a violation of humanity, but anyway, they're stealing eggs and sperm, they put them in a plastic pod, fertilize it, and they thought, we're going to get a human being. You don't. Why is that? Because what they missed is that you need the God energy of a woman's womb. Without that, you'll get an AI draconian, soul. So that's one of the mistakes they made. So what happened is they changed their tactic. So it gets even worse. So what they were doing is abducting the woman, basically seeding them, and then they put implants in. So the implants normally were like by the brainstem, near the heart, and near the womb. And then they come back here, and I've had so many people this happen to. They wait about 4 weeks until the souls come through, maybe 5 weeks, because you get up to 3 months. When you seed an egg, it becomes a fetus. You've got 3 months to get the soul in. If you don't, then what's going to happen is you get a miscarriage. But once the soul's bonded in, obviously they can detect that. And so what they do is abduct the woman, take it out, and then put her back. And I've had, women say, well, I don't understand it. I was pregnant. I took a test and then I wasn't. What's happening here? And the answer is, that these people are violating. They're violating the human race. So
people, we got about 3.5 minutes. People who are abducted, and you said about 50% of them know. What are the other 50% doing? How do they not know?
Well, I think it's just not come to the subconscious yet. No, about 60% know, but they don't know. They don't necessarily know straight away. They can get the revelation. It can just come to the conscious mind at any time. And so I think that I would say, this is 60% over a period of time. It's not 60% straight away. I had one lady in Florida, and I was going to Florida to speak at a Unity church, and she phoned the office. I really need to see Chris. And she was in tears. Okay, we'll come. And she said, when I got there, she said, "You've got to drive to my house because I was abducted, and she felt it all in the womb, and you can imagine she's really upset." So anyhow, I worked on her. We released the emotion, and then we put crystal grids in every room in the house, because a one-dimensional Merkaba field, a crystal grid. If you don't know what a Merkaba is, it's one of these. So it's a one-dimensional. It's a 5-pointed. You put 6 crystals, a 6-pointed thing, and then you connect them all together, and it creates a field high enough that it stops them from actually abducting, and it stops them from coming in with portals. So I spent that time with her, bless her, and she's good to go after. So, yeah.
Can you make it stop? Can people make abductions stop on them? I'm not quite convinced that they can.
I think if you the best way is maps of intent. We have a prayer called the 27 esoteric Merkaba field prayer, but I like the word map of intent better. I'm not a Christian, but I love Jesus' teachings, and I abide my life by him. But maps of intent, if you say them with authority, basically what it's doing, it's putting 27 esoteric Merkaba fields, 27 levels of energy around you to protect you from any negative entities, fractals thereof, because they were crafty. They start splitting themselves up into parts of an entity. So fractals thereof, manipulations and transmissional frequencies that are not for your highest good through all space-time continuum in every dimension. That map of intent is on the website. If anyone wants to use it, I think it's one of the most powerful prayers. People love it, because if you say it 3 or 4 times a day, you're going to keep these things out. If you don't, it's like with healing. Dave, if you do a healing on somebody and say, okay, I'm going to send you some, I'm going to do some psychic surgery, I'm going to do some healing on you, and you feel better. If I don't protect you, make a protection in that space, what's going to happen? These entities like Anunnaki Draconians, they're going to want to interfere with you, and they're going to want to mess up the healing. So that's one of the most important things, putting someone in a sacred space for 7 days where the healing can continue. So yeah, absolutely.
We got about 30 seconds to go. I just kind of look at it like, ET abduction is a very personal construct that happens. And, I don't think any of us are actually meant to understand why it's happening, how it's happening, why so many, for many, will have different encounters with other species that will take them as well. Some will have great experiences, but at the same time have negative experiences as well. We'll get into that in the next half hour. We're also going to get into the situation in Greenland, where apparently the UFO world tends to think that there may be a giant UFO hiding in Greenland underneath hundreds of feet of snow and ice. And that's maybe the reason why Greenland is all of a sudden being talked about as a place that the United States may want. Yeah, we'll get into that and more on Spaced Out Radio. All right, buddy, we are clear.
Oh, bless you.
Good start.
That's great. Someone said they think I'm Michael Caine.
Mike Rivers, I would like some Texas garlic toast, please. You don't mind? That sounds delightful. Delightful. Shelley, I will get to your question in hour 2. All right. So what have you been up to, Chris?
Pretty busy. I mean, wow, the amount of work we do, it takes a lot nowadays because, you're dealing with people, when you're healing them, you put them in portals, bond it into mobile fields. And then when you've done all this and, I'm dealing a lot with MK Ultra people, and that is a task, I tell you, because they're so badly abused. And, it actually brings tears to my eyes sometimes when, because you have to go through the abuse to show up for it and then transmute it. And it's a lot of work, And I've seen an absolute lot of people now, more than I've ever seen. It's amazing. I used to get probably one person every maybe 3-4 months. Now, lately, I've got, several a week. So, yeah, it's amazing, really. But, yeah, there's a lot going on. And influenza is one of the things that they're spraying at the moment. So people are getting sick with more like, I got it myself, you can probably tell by the voice, but it's like phlegm, nose issues, but it's not going into the bronchial lungs. It's interesting. So, yeah, influenza A Mark 6 or something. But, yeah, we're busy every week, we're full-time. And, of course, I love what I do. I think it's amazing.
Don't blame you.
I love it.
Don't blame you.
So, Dave, what have you been up to?
I have been just working my daytime job way too much. I've started a new business here, which is at our local museum. I am starting a paranormal tourism company through them where we're going to do haunted sleepovers. We're going to do ghost tours and paranormal investigations, which are much different.
Yeah.
We're going to do movie nights there. We're going to do all sorts of really cool things that try and create this into a little bit of a paranormal mecca. So it'll be fun. We're right in the central part of British Columbia along the Gold Rush Trail, and there's a lot of hauntings, a lot of cryptids, a lot of UFOs around here. So it'll be good.
Oh, that'd be great, actually.
Yeah. And I did my proposal a week ago tonight to the museum, saying what I would like to do to help them raise money. And they love the concept, and they're like, let's give it a try. Let's think forward instead of thinking that we're going to be, doing things that we've done for years that don't work. So
yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to get some new, new ideas. I think museums can be fun, if you make them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, But you got to think outside the box for a lot of things nowadays, I think so.
Yeah. But I look forward to it. I really do. I look forward to it. I was there at the museum today and cut a nice video up, which can be seen on our Facebook page, Haunted 108. And, and maybe, you know what? I'll play it during one of the breaks here. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be great. Love to see that.
Yeah. So I encourage everybody to find us, the haunted _108 mile on TikTok, the Haunted 108 on Instagram, Haunted 108 on Facebook. Website is coming soon. Thank you to Pam Harris and Little Cam for the great super chats tonight. We always appreciate your love and support. So about 2 hours north of Kamloops, Ashley. Here we go, everybody. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Christopher Macklin is our guest. And we're talking ET abductions, which is always a favorite topic of mine. Before we bring him on in, reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, our archives are free. Go to YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We got cool stuff there, including all of our swag, a plethora of swag. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Oh, sorry, had to hold back a sneeze there. And on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, Christopher Macklin. We're talking ET contact. A lot of people, Chris, will have good contact.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then they will all of a sudden have bad contact. It's almost like, and I use this as in a joking example, but it's almost like the minute you get contacted, you become this, this beacon, like a light shooting into the sky, like a Kmart blue light special light shooting into the sky, 1 billion miles into the sky. And whatever is out there flying can pick up on that signal and say, hey, let's check you out. See what's going on.
That's exactly what. I mean, it's interesting because I've had a lot of people who have had a lot of activity in the houses. They've had attachments, and like you say, it's like having a 1 billion watt bulb. Come in here and have a negative party, and it's important you've got to get yourself in a higher vibrational place. Because think about this, say these low vibrational beings are, vibrating like that level. You want to get way above them, because then what happens? The energy field around you protects you. And the problem you've got is, of course, living in this world with all the stress of money and things going on. It's very difficult, and people have gone through a lot of trauma as well. So I think it's important that it's important to process your emotion, get your vibration up. And also make sure you're protected whilst you're doing it. Because the thing is, if I do a healing on someone and they don't say, this map of intent, which is a prayer, they're going to get another attachment within 6 hours. Once the energy starts subsiding, they'll just get reattached. So it's so important to keep them out and do that prayer like 3 or 4 times a day. It's on the website. It's 27 esoteric Merkaba field prayer. And then, once your vibration's right up there, all you'll ever get then is, high vibrational beings, coming forward to you. And, and it's having discernment as well. Because don't forget, these negative beings can manipulate. For example, say, for example, you're doing readings. So you connect to something. Say it's a reptilian. So, they're going to tell you like 3 truths, 1 lie, so they'll say, oh, yeah, Dave, you're doing a radio show, you're doing a great job, da, da, da. And then they'll say, but you should be moving to France and find that house with the red roof and pink doors or whatever, some crazy thing. Well, everything else was true. Well, that must be then. So they're going to encourage you or manipulate you to go to France, and you'll find that house. Some crazy person has, oh, I found it. Yeah, you were right. So they're very crafty and manipulative. And that's why you have to use your discernment. I tell the audience, use your discernment. If you've got a dowsing tool, use dowsing. I don't know how you guys do it. I use my discernment. I use that gut feeling. But also, when I'm asking something like, for example, anything really, I always ask and I always write yes or no, in my mind. And, should this person be doing that? Or should they be doing this? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. And, so I always douse everything. Everything I do, I always check it, cross-check it, because it's really important. And again, when you're using your intuition, that first gut feeling is always the truth. If you start using your mind, you start questioning it, then that's when it goes downhill, So yeah.
I can see that. So do you think then that it's the signal people are giving off that is attracting negative ET contact?
Yeah, it's their low vibration, yeah. Because if you're depressed, upset, then they're gonna just walk in and attach to you these low vibrational beings and take over your body and make it 10 times worse. And that's where people's negative thoughts come from. If you have an Anunnaki attachment or draconian, what they do is tap in the lower back and they send you thoughts through your spinal cord. And so, say you're going out and, you're going out to work and, oh, no one likes you, the boss is just about to fire you. Oh God, you're useless. You just get all these thoughts all the time. And you think they're you think they're I thoughts that I created, when they're not, they're you thoughts. So again, discernment is really important. If you're getting negative thoughts, the chances are you've got a negative being attached to you that's trying to, suppress you from really getting into a higher vibrational state. They're manipulative, of course they are.
Of course they are. I mean, do you think, though, that ETs are trying to manipulate us?
Not all of them, no. I mean, there's a lot of ETs that are helping us. But yes, I think the Draconian, the agenda, the Archon agenda, Archons actually are a conscious being. They have no body, but they have consciousness, and they tend to float through the second and third and fourth dimension. Now, the Archon Covenant that was signed, I won't mention who signed that, but the Archon Covenant, if you look it up on Google, you'll see, it's all about, making people sick, giving them pills, and the new thing is actually altering DNA. We all know what that is, CRISPR technology. What happens then is, if you alter somebody's DNA, I don't know if you guys know this, but the light body in the DNA is not compatible with the soul. So the soul lifts out the body about kind of an inch or two. And so in come Archons. That's why a lot of people who ingest that, kind of weaponry stuff, they become kind of checked out, but aggressive, their whole personality changes. I was just dealing with somebody this week. Her mother ingested, that stuff and completely changed her, and not the same person. Used to be loving and she was so close. Now she's aggressive and, it's incredible.
Let's move on to the idea of people who love their contact. They get downloads. They get all sorts of special messages, about, peace, love, light, saving the planet, saving the earth, humanity and its struggles. They seem to get very, very enlightened by these beings, to the point where, I'll be honest with you, as a journalist and a radio host, it almost sounds contrived because it's the same message to many, many people. And, when people want popularity, they're going to say what they feel is going to make it popular, that the aliens think we're too violent, that the aliens think that we don't take care of our planet, that the aliens are Toronto Maple Leafs fans, and we can't have that in this world. Okay? I mean, there's a lot of things that seem to be the same with people. I tend to believe people who get incredible downloads, maybe it's binary code or whatever, over the whole peace, love, and light thing. It just seems a little bit altruistic for all of those people to have the same message. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the love and light thing is, is new age, whatever. I mean, what is light anyway? You say, oh, love and light, love and light, light. Lucifer's light. Is Lucifer a good being to really be connecting to? Oh, I guess not. You know, it's satanic. And so I think you've got to be really careful about, you know, about the truth and about when you get downloads. Like you say, you know, if you get code, I mean, I've had downloads. They've shown me, you know, different diseases and how they work. And, you know, I even got a download, I remember, about leukemia at 2 a.m. And I was so excited. You know, I actually put my clothes on, went down the office, and there's someone in England I knew would be up. So I phoned them up who could do dowsing and said, can you just cross-check this and see what you get? Yep. And ever since then, we're getting good leukemia. So downloads, you know, but this love and light stuff, it's, you know, we've got to get real, and we've got to start making plans to get to that loving state. I mean, you know, I have beings, I've got Mother Mary, Melchizedek being, Archangel Michael, ancient Palladium. And, you know, these beings turn up. I think, and, you know, even when I got really sick a couple of years ago, Mother Mary appeared to me, you know, in my room at 1 a.m. And she said, do you want to stay on this planet or do you want to go? I said, well, that's a stupid question. You know, okay, I was just asking. She left. She gave me the option, but it was so funny, bless her heart. But she's the mother of the 5 Melchizedek beings down here. You know, got Archangel Michael, ancient Palladium, very, very gifted. That's why they call him an archangel, as opposed to angelic beings, the ones that can get to that unconditional love state, but don't have the wisdom. With archangels, they have the wisdom and the, you know, unconditional loving state. And all these beings there to help us: Arcturians, Lemurians, Atlantarians, Andromedans, obviously Melchizedek. You know, we're all here to help. And I think, you know, but you have to be realistic. It's not all love and light. You know, sometimes it's really difficult, you know, being on this planet and navigating it. I mean, like I always say, they've tried to take me out. And 2024, October the 4th, was the 290th time. And they almost did it, you know, so yeah. But it was my choice, and I stayed, so I'm still here. So it's amazing.
Who would you not want to be abducted by?
Grey Reticular, Draconians, Anunnaki. It tends to be the Grey Reticular, though, who are doing most of the abductions. The Anunnaki don't tend to do that sort of stuff. But the good guys, for example, the Palladians actually have Palladian ships where if there's emergencies, they do actually come and sometimes take people in the ship and heal the body, you know, with all their high technology, and then put them back again. And they're flying all over the place. There's a lot of help with that as well. So, because people are really sick in this country, you know, in this world, actually, you know, with the food, with the water, the air, you know, you name it, it's polluted, you know, and the rest of it, you know, so it's interesting. So they are helping for sure.
But with so many different grays out there, okay, personally, I have had encounters with, I believe, 5 different gray species.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we know which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are guns for hire? You know, how do we know?
I think if you get an encounter, if they're negative beings, you can feel it in your chest. You know, I remember that Anunnaki, it turned up in my room, and even the age of 4, I felt, oh God, I don't know what's going on, but this is not good, you know. And it's that intuition. You've got to really use your discernment, you know. I think it's really important. But with the greys, I mean, there's tall greys that are, you know, benevolent. They're here to help us, you know. There are Anunnakis, actually, you know, that are, you know, benevolent as well. But, you know, it depends what factions. It depends where they've redeemed themselves. So, yeah, it's an important point. So, you know, if you do encounter an ET, you need to say, do I need to be connecting with this ET, or do I need to run a mile, you know? And you'll have that, oh, this is not sitting well. Or, wow, yes, they're here to help. You'll feel it in your bones. That's what it's all about to me. It's about intuition.
How much does intuition play into ET abduction?
Well, I think, you know, when they take you at night, then there isn't any, because you're asleep, and they literally just you know, paralyze you and get you on a tractor beam and lift you out your bed, and they're taken on the ship, and then when they've done their stuff, they put you back. Some people remember being on the ship and some people don't, but again, it's how they wipe the mind. Some people have very strong minds where they can't particularly wipe the whole thing, so they have snippets of seeing them while they're doing things to your body. I mean, that was actually stopped in 2017. I went to a meeting with the Galactic Federation, and we were talking about the difference between violation and education. So what's education? Well, when we volunteer, I mean, I'm a Starseed, you're a Starseed. I think Starseed people volunteer to come down this planet. I don't know what you're thinking, but because it's a tough place to be, but, we volunteer to come here. So it means I've lost my track of thought. Sorry. Tell me again. I've lost my track.
Well, just in the fact of how do we know? How do we know what to believe? What can we learn from the experience?
Well, I think, the Galactic Federation thing. So education versus violation. So, people have often said to me, well, Anunnaki attached to you, Draconians attached to you, Luciferians are really aggressive. They're the ones that contort your body, if you try and pull them out. I think that, again, intuition, and if they're attached to you and you're getting negative, you're feeling like sick, they make you feel sick. They paralyze the liver, they paralyze the intestines, they send you negative thoughts, so you get very depressed and really not very well, But if you use your intuition, so that difference between violation and education, so if they attach to you, is that a violation? No. And people say, how do you mean no? Because before you come down here, they show you what happens on planet Earth. Like, you're going to get these attachments, you're going to get this, that, and the other happening. And you need to learn how to navigate it, which is with maps of intent, power of God. But what happens if just some ET race just come and put a ship, don't even ask any questions, and just take you out of your bed without your permission? They might have the government permission, they signed a contract, but they don't have your personal sovereign permission. And they take you and then put you back in, they steal your egg and sperm, or they make a woman pregnant, whatever they do. Is that a violation? Absolutely. And that's why they were actually banned off the planet. The problem is they banned them in this time space. So they're coming back through portals. They're very clever, these things. So what they're doing is coming in the same space but different time, because they're still in the portal when they come back, and they still try and manipulate humanity. So that hasn't been addressed yet. So it's just interesting.
Do you recommend people to go and find out whether or not they have been abducted?
I think if you've got an inkling, I think normally people have been abducted. They don't feel right. Something's not right, and I think it's important to find out, because at least and you're not going crazy. Because like I say, there's definitely in the subconscious, it's there. And the subconscious could sometimes, start coming to the surface a little bit. You think, I think someone took it, something happened, I don't know what. And I think it's important to find out what happened, and then you can actually address it and transmute. I've got a lady in Australia we're working with at the moment. She's abducted and actually got a pregnant young girl, and then they took it, and she's still got the implants, so we're frying the implants to stop them from working, and getting a vibration up so it doesn't happen again. So I think it's important to address it, because if you don't, you're going to have trauma that you really don't understand what it is, but there's trauma there from abducting you.
Do you think then, if people should learn about this, do you think then there should be more educational status out there to the public to learn that this is actually going on?
Yeah, I think so. I think there needs to be disclosure about this thing, and I'm shocked that, people were talking about it. There's a lot of channels talk about it, but it's never been in the mainstream. It's never been from, the White House. It's never been from any major place. Now, I'm surprised, really, because it's happening a lot. There's a lot more craft now than there's ever been. So, it's interesting.
5 minutes to go before we have to go to break. At the top of the hour, Christopher Macklin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Chris, as we go down the abduction, we're going to get into Greenland in the next little bit here. A lot of people will say this planet is constantly visited. You believe that there are bases on this planet that aliens have. I believe that too. Just out of for full transparency, I do believe that aliens are here, and they've are probably based in the waters or lakes around the world and oceans around the world, maybe in forests and mountains, or maybe they're just cloaking themselves.
Yeah, they do actually. I mean, alien craft do cloak themselves, and they can cloak themselves as beings as well. But they have the technology to see through the cloaking energy now, so that's not working so well anymore. I know the military have devices where they can look through and they can see cloaking signatures. I can see it myself. If there's craft in the sky, and sometimes I look through the veil, it's cloaking itself because it's put itself in a different dimension, but this space, but a different frequency. And so, but I can see through the veil. So yeah, they've tried that, but I think that's kind of fading now. So they used to hide. Palladium craft sometimes look like fluffy clouds. They can turn themselves into like a fluffy cloud, but you can tell, because I look through it. Oh, that's a craft. That's not, So yeah, if you can't look for that, at least you can actually use your intuition. Is that a craft? Because something makes you curious about it. That doesn't feel right. Excuse me.
Should we feel right about the entire process, though? Because it is a stress on your own spirituality, your own spiritual being.
Yeah, but I'm always after the truth, and I always want to know, what's out there, what's coming after you, what's trying to attach to you, and how can we counter it so that we can keep ourselves in a good high vibrational spiritual place. I mean, I always do that. I live in 40 acres in the woods. Our whole house was built by the Amish, but it's encapsulated. It's actually, someone said they're from Arkansas, but it's actually 1,000 feet from the Arkansas border, so it's just on the Missouri side. But I think it's really important that the work I do, I do it every day. I work on people every half hour, one-to-one, special group, different things. We work on so many people a week, and if I didn't have this sanctuary, I don't think I could do the level of work I do. So for me, it's knowing all these things so you can actually counter it and keep yourself safe. Make sure you haven't got attachments. Make sure that aliens aren't trying to say, for example, have portals open where the greys can come near getting out the portal. And I've had people who have called me in and said, look, my bathroom stinks. It's terrible because the greys don't wash. They smell like dirty drain. So do the Anunnaki. So if they're there, well, there's a smell, and as soon as you shut the portal, bang, it's gone. So yeah, it's amazing things I've encountered.
It's an amazing world out there, full of mystery and full of suspense. How do you define the reality that this is going on with the people out there who are skeptical that anything is truly happening, and look at people like you and I as a bunch of tinfoil hat wearing wingnuts?
Yeah, my father keeps calling me that all the time. In fact, one day, he said to me on the phone, he said, I think you're absolutely barking mad. I said, wow, Dad, that's the best compliment you've ever given me. So he goes, what? But yeah, it's very difficult to persuade people, and I think you just have to let them learn. I think there's a lot more encounters. There's a lot more things in the sky. People are now realizing there's chemtrails. People are realizing, oh, there's craft around. You can see them. They're starting to be more visual. I think they're starting to uncover themselves little by little without freaking people out. But you do still get a faction of people who just no. I mean, my father, used to think. Well, I think he still does think that there's no other beings in this universe than us. Kind of thinking, well, that's a bit crazy because it's infinite. There's got to be somebody somewhere, and he doesn't believe it. He just thinks there's us on this planet, and that's it. So that's interesting. So,
30-second answer. Is this something that you believe spirit, God, source, whatever you want to call it, wants us to know about?
I do. I just think we've got to be ready. There's one rule of the universe in the Keys of Enoch that You can't disclose. You can't, for example, if a spirit comes to you in the middle of the night, like Mother Mary came to me, most people, somebody just turns up at the bottom of your bed, and they're going to be freaked out. So they can't disclose themselves unless the person is ready. And that's and it's the same with the UFOs. That's why they're doing it very gradually and introducing the ideas and getting it in social media, because it's against the universal rules that they can't frighten people. They can't expose themselves before people are ready to accept. So, yeah, it's a good question.
Christopher Macklin, next when we come back, UFOs in Greenland. We're going to get to the big topic of the night on Spaced Out Radio. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Chris, I'm going to put you in the back green room for a few minutes. We got about 5.5 minutes, okay? See you in a bit. Be right back, everybody. All right, I'm back. We have about minute 40 left. Let's get rid of the photo. Let's bring Chris back in. I'll unmute you, Chris. There you are.
That's brilliant. Bless your heart.
Good times. 1 second here, Chris. I did Demon. How are you, Paul Demon? And Benno from Oz. How are you? And who else joined us here? Jeff Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. Right. Big thanks tonight to Pam Harris and Little Cam for our super chats. We appreciate your love and support. And yeah, it's a good time. If you haven't already, do me a favor. I'd love it if you could go over to the Haunted 108. Haunted 108. Follow our page. We got a great tourism company that we are literally just starting out. I'd love your support there, guys. So if you ever want to come up for a haunted holiday, you're more than welcome. Yeah, the website isn't developed yet. We'll get the website going here very, very soon. And we'll go from there. Don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. Here comes hour 2. We have hour number 2 underway on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Oracular. Oracular is your password. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong password. Password is Vatic. Vatic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Now, recently there has been a lot of talk in the UFO world about Greenland. And it's become kind of a political hot topic. You know, certain presidents want to take over Greenland. They say it's because of national security. Others believe that there is something under the ice of Greenland that could be very, very technologically advancing. Example, maybe a giant craft is buried under the ice and they know about it and they want it. Christopher Macklin's been looking into this. Chris, thank you so much for being here from Global Enlightenment Project. Good to have you here.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Bless your heart. Yeah, there's a lot of things happening on Greenland. I mean, it harbors one of the most tightly guarded extraterrestrial activity on Earth. I mean, there's the South Pole, there's the North Pole, and I think in this hemisphere, I think we need it because of reversing the firmament activity and the suppression that these areas have been producing all over the world. And so it's off-world entities maintain like hidden installations beneath the ice sheet. There's a lot of installations. There's a lot of ancient facilities, you know, advanced craft technology beyond conventional human, which can, you know, the propulsion systems are, I mean, they're plasma, you know, plasma propulsion systems go really fast, like, you know, 275,000 miles an hour. But of course, they have to have a stabilized internal gravity system to them so that your body doesn't like fall apart. They can also switch in time space. That's, you know, they have that technology. They've had that technology for a while. I mean, they have jump rooms to Mars. I don't know if people know this. I know of one I know somebody who actually went in one. and they were targeted as well. So I had to work with them with the targeting. But it's like a lift. They've created like a lift where you go to a certain floor and you just open it and you're on Mars. What's that doing is it's switching you in time, space, different space, maybe same time, and you just appear on Mars. So it's bending time. So you can actually get across the universe within seconds with this new technology. But what's interesting is they really want us to have it. And the answer is probably not. Why is that? Because they view the planet Earth as hostile, which it is at the moment. And I think when all the wars are, snuffed out, and when things change, and when people's anxiety and, there's a lot of hatred in the world, when that changes, then I think they're probably going to release the technology. Because I know they have Stargate technology. I call it Stargate technology. It's like just a frame. So you get a frame in your house. It's got a pad, coordinates, whatever. So if I wanted to come for a cup of tea with you right now, Dave, I'd just say, well, what's your coordinates? You just walk through it, and you walk through yours, and you're there in an instant. They have that. They've had that technology for a long time. But of course, why is it not being given to us? Because they don't want us to actually travel off planet until we get more peace on this planet. Because otherwise, it could create wars, and there could be all sorts of things happening. So they're keeping it suppressed. That's why I think we're going through a big change right now to try and get us to a place where we're not enslaved anymore, where we're not, if you look at everything, everything's enslavement, there's nothing that's non-enslavement. There's enough on this planet for everybody. And yet, because of the stress of the debt system and everything else, it's put people are struggling, I'm seeing it all the time. So I think when we can get to a new system, when we can get people, in a good place where they can actually live, and you're not living on a debt note, and they can actually enjoy themselves, and they can have time for each other. You can have one of you at home with the kids, and you're not struggling just to pay all your debts. If all that's wiped clean, then it's going to be a different planet, and I see it. I see, fairly soon, I see a big shift in this planet. And I think, it's coming quite quickly to the US, and then it's going to be rolled out over the whole world. And when that happens, I think we'll be able to, you'll be able to go to Venus or wherever you want to go to for holiday, and you'll switch in time space, and suddenly you're there, and you stay there for a bit, and you come back. Or you can go to somebody's house. I think, it'll make aircraft obsolete. But of course, we're going to have flying cars as well, so they've had anti-gravitational technology for years. There's so much technology there. They've got ancient architecture, crystalline architecture. They've got energy fields that neutralize conventional detection methods. They've got, the multi-dimensional travel, which we've talked about. So yeah, there's so many different things that are going to come. But like I say, it's not going to be released until we go through this transition. And I think it's starting to happen. So.
Do you think with Greenland, there's never been anything proven that there is a UFO under the ice, but this story seemed to take a lot of shape over the last couple of months, where a lot of UFO reporters claim that they trace some anonymous online posts and speculative videos that really haven't been peer reviewed by any scientific research or anything like that, but they're saying that there could be something hidden under there, and that's the reason why, going back a few years ago, President Obama traveled to Greenland for one day. Where did he go? Nobody really knows where he went. The Trump administration has gone to Greenland. Were they looking at it? Now, personally, as a UFO guy, I don't really buy it. But I want to believe, I want to think that maybe there is something like this happening. Your thoughts?
Well, I think people like Obama and people like that are actually going over there to try and keep manipulation going, keep the old firmament intact. There's a lot of structures there. There's a lot of technology that's like 1,000 years in advance. And it's also connected to the South Pole, so they're kind of working in conjunction. And I think that's starting to actually that's starting to actually be dismantled, because it's 1,000 years in the future technology. So if they start dismantling it and destroying it, there's nothing that can actually fix it. Once they get rid of this firmament, then we're not enslaved so much, because there is a soul recycling thing under the firmament where even when you pass away, they don't leave you alone. Your soul, if you go to the wrong place, your soul can actually go through soul recycling, come back and be recycled again, and you're stuck on planet Earth, and that's not supposed to be the way it is. So, yeah. So I think with all that technology, what they're trying to do is destroy the firmament, and then we'll be putting up the kind of golden dome, which is in this hemisphere is going to protect the whole area, which I think will be better. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest reason why they want Greenland to. So what does it protect us against? Well, ET races, like the Anunnaki Draconians, they can't just come on this planet. You can have a plasma field around it where it'll stop of just entering, and I think, to me, that'd be a good thing. Good vibrational beings will be able to come through, but manipulative ones won't, because it will be selective of the frequency of those actual beings.
I think it more has to do with defense and maybe just,
yeah,
maybe a little bit more bullying than anything, not to get political, but on the flip side, I think, there is a fear of Russia. There is a fear of China. I don't think that has much to do with the alien agenda right now.
No, I just think it's I think it's a human, some sort of plan going on, and who knows what's behind it. I can see the plan. I mean, it's a very carefully crafted plan, I think, to actually create peace, and I hope it happens. Who knows? So.
Do you think, though, if it was alien, and we're being hypothetical here for a second, that there must be some sort of technology in there that just defies everything that we know? Do you think that's probably what it is about?
Oh, I think the technology, defies everything we know. They've got plasma weapon systems, which, the problem with a lot of these ETs, like Anunnaki, if you try and use conventional weapons, it doesn't touch them. So you need energy weapons, which are, based on plasma. It's like, for example, under Mount Hayes, you've got the supercomputer that's like 1,000 years in advance, and it's a quantum computer, but it's different because it's got consciousness. It's a plasma cube-based computer, so it can tap in using its own plasma energy into computers without even actually connecting to them. That's the technology they have, We're just doing qubits at the moment, and we still have to plug it in and getting onto wires and internet, whatever, or wireless. But this thing can use its own consciousness. When you get to that level, that's something beyond, that's advanced, super advanced AI. In fact, it's really synthetic AI. It's because the actual the computer's actually got a consciousness. It's a sentient being. So that takes it to a whole new level. So, yeah, there's so many weapons and things, so much technology. I think we're going to be amazed. I mean, Tesla created replicators. He created free energy devices. It's easy to get free energy out. They've proved that there's a differential even 100 feet above. If you get a voltmeter, and you get it, a stake 100 feet up, and then you go to ground, there's a potential difference, a big one, So that right there, is energy. So if you harness that energy through Tesla's coils, you could have free energy for your house, and they've done it. It's just that they don't release it to the public because, again, we're enslaved. We have to pay for our electric, and we have to pay for everything. It's all going to be free in the future.
Many people will say we already have free energy. It's just being withheld.
Oh yeah, we've had it for a long time. In fact, it's my belief, Dave, is that I think all these big power stations, I think they have the energy devices in the power stations, and I think sometimes they just put a bit of coal in a thing just to burn something. But I think these devices have been, created a long time ago. So we're buying, energy from a company that's getting it for free. Insane.
Well, I mean, you look at it. I mean, let's say Tesla created that, and it was taken away. Okay. If Tesla created it and take it away, then I believe in 1933, there was another gentleman who figured out how to take a combustion engine and get about 200 miles per gallon. Okay. That was taken away. You know, it opens up a whole door of conspiracies. There was a gentleman in late 70s, early 80s who developed a vehicle that could run on water,
Yeah.
and that was taken away after GM kind of bought the patent from him. There is a lot of these situations where I think people have gone further than we expect, but it's always so covered up, Chris.
It is, because it's all about the money, and I think that's about to change. Well, it's all about control and money. A lot of it's money, because money is control. When people have enough money, like, I mean, how much you need to live? If you had like $5 million, that'd be more for most people for the rest of your life. But not these people. They need billions, and now we've got into trillions. I think what they're doing is manipulating us with the monetary system. Now we're getting used to trillions. With how much we're in debt? $36 trillion. And people lose sight of what that is. It's a ton of money, but not really, because the dollar bill has lost 3,000% of its value since 1973. So it's actually worth probably a cent compared with 73 with its buying power. So, but I think it's all been suppressed because they want, there's a control system. They want to take over the planet. They want people sick. They don't want people to thrive. They want people stressed, because when you stress, your vibration drops. And I hope, this new, what they call it, plan, actually shifts it all back and gets all this thing back to the people, because the people deserve to be prosperous. Everyone could be prosperous, but not in this current matrix, But I think it's changing.
Okay, well let's go back there for a second. Let's talk about free energy and the idea that this is out there right now. Where would they be using it, or do you think they're just burying it?
I think they're using it. I've remote viewed a couple of sites. I looked at a couple of sites and remote viewed them. And what I found inside was just like massive coil arrays, like the Tesla coil arrays, and a little burner. And they just, like I say, they just burn a bit of coal. But what they're doing is they've created these massive, Tesla free energy devices. And so they're getting it for free. It's from the ether. You say, where's the energy coming? Well, all this is energy. The sun plasma energy is beaming on you every single day. So it means that there's limitless amounts of energy in the ethers. All you have to do is just tap into it. And I've seen a lot of I've seen people actually develop small devices, smaller versions of it. So I think what'll happen in the next, year or two, we'll have these on the market where you can just literally plug them into your house, a box like 2 feet by 3 feet, and it'll power the whole house. And it'll be free. I mean, obviously you have to buy the unit, but once you've bought the unit, there's no energy cost. And there's no moving parts, so it lasts forever, so. And you can put them also in a car. So why would you need a big battery? You might need a small battery that, if it failed for whatever reason, at least you could drive, say, 30, 40 miles. But you don't need batteries, because these devices, you can put them in a car, you can drive forever, So they've been available, so.
Yet the automakers right now, I mean, if you want to talk about automakers, and I know a little bit about this, the North American automakers have literally been shutting down their EV plants all over North America. Ford took a $15 billion loss. Dodge just cost them, or Chrysler, Stellantis just cost them, I think, $22 million or $1 billion to shut down their entire programs. So isn't it about, never mind what's best for the environment, even on free energy, but it's showing really that people aren't very interested in this product right now. The majority. There are a lot of people who are, and I'm not knocking you, okay, but there are a lot of people, the statistics show that a lot of people just are not buying into this.
Well, I think they're unstable. I mean, the battery's unstable, because once if they go wrong, they become like a firework. They'll burn your car in seconds. So I think people, including myself, I'd never buy an EV. With a battery that's unstable because you put it in your garage, you put it on charge. What happens if the middle of the night, it just goes on fire? It's going to burn your whole house down, and I just don't think it's worth it. And plus the waves, that come off it that you're sitting on, do not do you any good either. So I think, I think the EV was a bad idea personally. I mean, I'd never have one. People might buy it. I don't judge anyone for buying these things, but it's just not for me. I want to see a more stable system where you don't have a big battery. It's not made of lithium, it's made of something else. I mean, I know in Germany they've developed a battery which is salt water, and and that's way more stable than lithium. So, I'm hoping to see a change in that as well. But fundamentally, all you need is the Tesla coil box, the back of your car, and you'll be able to run it forever. That's all the power, suck it out the ethers, and the energy is available all over the planet. So you don't have to worry about, plugging it in, charging it up. It's just going to work. So I think that's quite exciting.
Well, you know what? We're going to see what happens, because the free energy aspect of everything is extremely intriguing. It's going to change the entire pace of humanity. It really will.
It is. Yeah.
And of course, history does show that these type of projects, decades before they get into the public hands, they are, run through every military gamut that there is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think they're being used. A lot of this technology being used. I mean, look at the new technology they've got, things that can paralyze people. They've got things that can, just, send a plasma ball out and, destroy a target, because plasma burns really hot, something like, I don't know, 80, 100,000 degrees. So when it hits something, it just literally, fries it, So I think the technology they've got already, and I know they've got the, the free energy technology and replicators as well. They can replicate stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting, time in the near future, because you won't really worry about anything,
I would be remiss to say, hey, we have talked a lot about free energy here, but a lot of people may not know what that actually means. So we got 2 minutes to go before we go to break here. Describe what the free energy concept is.
Well, the free energy concept is extracting the plasma energy, the energy 0.8, whatever you want to call it, in the ethers, like in the air at the moment, you've got energy. Everything's energy. So what they're doing is, with the Tesla coils, they're actually harnessing that, and then what it does is you can transform it down. It's like high frequency, electricity, and you can transform it down to 110, 240 volts, whatever it is, 500 volts, and then you can apply it straight to the car. So, obviously it's going to have some controls, electronic controls, but, basically it's free energy, I mean, yes, is the device going to cost you some money? Of course it is. You probably not get it for free. It'll be built into the car, but, you'll be able to drive forever. And, I think that's why I think gasoline, crude oil. I mean, people think crude oil is fossil fuel. It's not. It's the blood of the planet. You take some out, it rebuilds. It regenerates. It's like if you take a pint of blood out of you, within 3 days, it's regenerated. So that when they said it's going to run out, no, it's not. It's going to last forever. So, but obviously the pollution. It would be much better to just have an electric device that could take the energy out of the ethers and basically just drive forever. I've seen one of these devices, just a small prototype. They work, they work.
Well, you know what? I would be interested to see how it works, because if we could, not from I don't even care for cars or anything like that, but just getting proper electronics, I guess would be the proper term for that, to people who are, say, living remotely and need it. I think of a lot of people in northern Canada. They could use that free energy not only to harness the sun's energy to keep themselves warm, but they could also use it to get clean water. Right?
Absolutely.
Find areas where there's clean water. So it'd be a good thing. Hold on right there, Chris. We are going to go to break here in about 20 seconds. Christopher Macklin is our guest tonight. on Spaced Out Radio. Global Enlightenment Project. You got to check it on out. It's not just about UFOs and aliens. It's also about cleansing your spiritual palate as well. I never get to say spiritual palate, Chris, so I'm going to take advantage of it right there. We will be right back, everybody.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear.
Oh, bless you there.
All right. Magnus for Magnuson. Good to have you here. Oh, I know what I want to do. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if this is going to work. Where's the volume on here? Right there. Oh, come on. Volume is on. Let's go like this. And let's go like this. Here's a little preview for you guys. Nestled in the heart of British Columbia's Caribou region sits the historic 108-mile heritage site, a quiet place by day filled with pioneer buildings, creaking floorboards, and stories etched into weathered wood. But when the sun dips behind the trees and the wind moves across the lake, another story begins to whisper, the legend of Agnes McVie. They say during the gold rush of the late 1800s, a woman of mysterious origins operated out of the post house, a place meant for rest, mail, and weary travelers. Legends claim Agnes lured prospectors inside, never to be seen again. Some stories speak of as many as 62 souls lost to her cunning schemes, yet curiously, no official record proves she ever lived there at all. Was she real, a forgotten criminal erased by time, or simply folklore created to bring intrigue to a growing settlement? Visitors and staff alike at the heritage site have reported unexplained footsteps, sudden cold spots, and eerie feelings of being watched at the post house, especially after dark. Others insist it's only imagination, the power of suggestion mixed with old wood and older tales. But legends don't survive for over a century without leaving something behind. So if you find yourself walking the grounds at twilight, listen closely. The breeze may carry more than the scent of pine. It might carry a question. Do you dare to find out if Agnes McVie is just a story, or if she truly never left? This is Haunted 108. So that's part of my new project there.
That looks brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So how many people can you actually have overnight? Can you have a few? Or?
We're going to start with one bedroom in the main house. We're going to start with one bedroom there, and then we are going to see if it becomes successful. We have an opportunity to do up to three bedrooms in the house. So
That's great.
plus we are also going to be our next video will be on our big Clydesdale barn that we have, and we will be maybe doing haunted sleepovers in the barn once it warms up. And the barn, I don't know if I would sleep there, to be blunt, but I probably will have to. So give me 2
That'd be a bit
seconds.
of fun.
We're coming back in about 15 seconds. Haunted 108 on Instagram, on Facebook. Give us a follow. Website coming soon. Thank you to Lil Cam, Pam, and Matthew Gutka for the super chats. We appreciate your love. And here we go. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We are so proud to have you here, hanging on out with us as we get ready for the final half hour with Christopher Macklin tonight. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Dr. Christopher Macklin from Global Enlightenment Project is here. We're hanging on out. We're going to take some audience questions here. Chris, you ready?
Absolutely.
All right. Shelley would like to know your thoughts on our company, ETs, relaying to some of us it's humans messing with DNA. What's your thoughts on this?
To our company. Yeah, I mean, don't forget, we were created out of, I think it was 47 different strands of DNA from different races. And originally, they were all benevolent. But of course, what happened is we've been hijacked. Our DNA has been hijacked for years. I mean, even now, some of the technology like agrobacterium, GMO foods, or in past needy things will alter your DNA. Of course, CRISPR technology, the current one, alters your DNA. So we don't have the same DNA that we used to. And so I think they've been alternate for messing with our DNA with all sorts of technology because they want us dumbed down. If you, like I said before, if your DNA is not compatible with your soul properly, your soul does live out the body. And what it does is also alters your God connection, where you shut down because there's no light body in the DNA. It's not the way it should be. So, yeah, I think they really do. Yeah.
Do you think that this also goes to the idea of with the DNA altering, that they have also done that with animals, mammals,
Oh, yes.
fish?
Yeah, I think they've done it with a lot of animals. Again, shut them down. They've altered the whole DNA, taste, everything else. Cows. I think a lot of animals have been altered. So it's kind of sad, really, when you think about what they're doing to this planet.
Is that the ET's fault or our fault?
I think they coexist because I think the ETs give us the technology to be able to alter the DNA, and therefore, then we put it out, and that's obviously the negative cabal type agenda. They want to alter our DNA, make us transhuman, and all this sort of thing. And we want to be human. I personally want to be human. What about you guys? I want a God connection. I don't want my DNA altered. I mean, we've got a technique. I actually did a DNA alteration in 2009. And what they do by psychic surgery, they go in the cell where life began, which is the sacred point. They repair all the chromosomes, connect all these together, reset the DNA of that cell back to the blueprint, and then cells around it. I didn't think anything of it, but it's a crazy exercise. It takes about 18 weeks because every single cell gets altered. And I have to work on it every day. And now we have a protocol to strip all the nano and then do a DNA. Anyway, so I went through that. Never thought anything of it. In England, my blood type was O negative. And I used to give blood to the blood transfusion service in the UK. Anyway, I came here not thinking anything of it. So 2024, I was hit with a low frequency energy weapon. Heart valve was, 2 cups were melted together, got really sick. And because my valve's big and my heart's the size of a volleyball, they said, we're going to have to, we don't have a valve big enough, we're going to have to reduce the hole. So they split us open, did open heart surgery. And he said, you bleed out a lot, your blood doesn't clot very well. I said, no, it doesn't. So they had to give me 3 pints of blood. They said, well, we'll have to. I said, oh, it's O negative. I said, well, we have to check it. And ever after, I haven't had it ever checked. Do you know what? It changed to A negative. Really interesting. So after that DNA reset. So, and I've got proof of it as well with the hospital and that. So yeah, that was interesting.
I could give you blood. I'm O positive, man. I can give it to anybody except the O negative people.
Well, I'm A negative now, so but I used to be O negative. Isn't that amazing? So
Skip to Malou in Denmark is asking, why have they, the aliens, not come to pick us up yet?
well, because we're down here having a human experience. It's supposed to be, I mean, you here, it's supposed to be a classroom yin and yang. The problem is it's got so dark that, because the keys of Enoch, you're not allowed to interfere with free will, they had to get over that somehow. So how do you get over it? Well, you've got a whole bunch of people stuck down here. It's very dark. They're being manipulated, everything else. So how do you get over it? If even Prime Creator, who created us, can't interfere down here, that's the rules of the, of the actual universe that Prime Creator created. So what you do is you have to get volunteers who want, evolved volunteers who want a human experience. And that's, I don't know what we were thinking about coming down here, but like I say, I think, so you volunteer to come down here. Now, some starseed people, their soul is compatible with a normal human body and some not. Mine wasn't. Melchizedek, Actorians, they're not compatible with the human body. So what they have to do is splice enough genetics. So they actually abduct your mother, splice enough genetics so they can get you down here. And it's all agreed, and then they can get you down here. And so you're born down here as like what they call a starseed, an advanced being who doesn't need to come here for an experience, but who's volunteered to actually ask from the ethers to come down here and help us. Because once you're born on here, then it gets over the keys of Enoch, the keys of the universe. So interesting.
Let's move on. We got a few more coming at you here. Let's go to Mike. Any information on what's behind the ice wall?
What's behind the ice wall? Yeah. What, in Greenland?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's greenery. Yes, it's cold, but the ice wall was developed to stop people from being able to detect activity. Well, the old detection devices, the new detection devices are different. But the ice wall's just there to, corner off the ET races there, like the tall greys, like the Nordics, who have got long blonde hair, so that they don't interfere with it, and they can just do their thing and we do ours, and there's no cross-referencing. But what's happening, of course, is because the technology, that's why I think, certain factions of governments have gone down there, almost to, the deep state people to make peace, because they want them to keep this firmament. They want to keep us enslaved. They want to keep all the enslavement frequencies going. There's a whole slew of things, that happen down there. And that's why, they want to turn all that around. So the Western Hemisphere, the whole vibrational change of it. In fact, I think it's going to happen all over the world. But they've got to also look at Antarctica in the future as well, because that's where the Draconians and the Luciferians operate from with their system. That's a whole another ball game.
All right, let's continue on here as we next go to necessary dialogue. What percentage of abducted people remember their encounter? Example, could we all have been abducted?
I don't believe all have been abducted, but I think there's a big number, and I think, like say, only 60%, only 60%. It comes. They remember the encounter, but it's not necessarily straight away. It takes time sometimes for the subconscious to become conscious, and then they start. Hang on, something really happened that day, and it's on their mind, and then when they drill down to it by meditation, you can start looking in your subconscious mind and actually look at what happened. So, I would say about 60% remember. Some people just never remember. I mean, if they're pretty shut down, they just go about their life. You go to work, you earn your money, you go home, do the cooking, go to bed, the usual life, hamster wheel cycle. But if you actually take a step back and take time and really meditate on it, then I think you can really dig into it.
Next up, we have Yanni. If soul connection, does all beings or do all beings have the soul? Like NHIs, ETs, so on and so forth.
They have different souls, yeah, but they do have souls. I mean, even NPCs, non-player characters, I mean, they're born in pods, and they started making a lot of these in the early days. So they reckon that there's like 75% of the planet is a non-player character. What does that mean? You were born in a pod, but you don't have a human soul, because you can't get a human soul in a pod. So you got some sort of draconian AI thing going on. So they're very different. You can tell non-player character people, if you look in the eyes, there's no light in there. It's kind of shut down, and they can't even create a monologue. So you can always tell NPCs. So, but yeah, all races have some form of whether it's AI or whether it's like, ours is a proper human, soul. It's a, prime creator kind of human soul. So everyone's got something different.
A lot of people do say that a lot of the ET beings are very God-fearing. And therefore, wouldn't that be a connection to the soul?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, most ET races, I mean, they've got it may be different than ours, but they've got a soul for sure. And yes, they're God-fearing, They know that Prime Creator, I mean, Prime Creator is created everything everywhere. We're all part of Prime Creator, whatever you want to call God. I define God as God, Goddess, Prime Creator of all that is. And so, it's like when people ask God for forgiveness. Well, you're a God being. So what you're really doing is asking you to forgive yourself if you've done something wrong, because you're part of God, in my opinion, but and I think, it's like trees are God, everything's God stuff, it's all God stuff. So, yeah.
All right, let's move on. Andromedan's asking, who do you then think created humans on this planet?
That's an interesting question. I think it was the Galactic Federation. I think there was a number race involved: Arcturians, Andromedans, Palladians. I think they all got together and they wanted to create an absolute loving God, human being, as they called them, and so they used their DNA of various species to get the very best of them in one place. And so we are a kind of, well, the human race is an experiment, of course, but I think what's happened is, like I say, when greed and different things start coming in, things go pretty south, and I think it's too south right now. I think we need to restore a balance. Is it all going to be blissy all the time? No, you need a balance of yin and yang to learn on this planet, but it is going to a different frequency, 5D frequency, which is like loving, you'll get rid of all your trauma, and it'll be a different experience. So yeah.
Let's continue on here. Actually, before we do, I want to make a comment on that. I don't know how we were created. I'm a creationist. I will say that. Okay. And I don't try and hold my belief against anybody else's belief or anything. And it's unfortunate that we always got to preface things like that. But I have a hard time believing that the aliens dropped off a bunch of DNA from a bunch of different projects from around the universe or solar system and way out and beyond, and just smashed it together to bake a human pie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Just like it doesn't make sense to me, because being a creationist, doesn't make sense to me that, we came from mammals. That doesn't make sense.
No.
Or monkeys or whatever you want to call it. I don't get it.
No, I think we were created. I think they wanted to create a race like themselves, but, with more, just different, the very best of each faction of the ETs that, gave their, that gave the DNA. And I think we were that result, and I think it evolved. It wasn't just like smashed together, bake in the oven, we're done, I think it evolved over a period of time. When they got it right, they put them on Earth and they wanted them to thrive. And we were doing okay, but obviously, several thousand years ago, there's always been wars. I mean, there's always been wars. People love our planet. They love, they want to take over the planet. We've had Martian wars, we've had Syrian wars, we've had Atlantis fell as well. So, we've had the technology in the past and it's failed us. I'm hoping this time it doesn't. But yeah. So
let's go to a new question. Have you ever met any reptilians or draconians?
I have met Anunnaki a couple of times, but I just commanded them to leave and they left, so that I didn't really speak to them. I haven't sat down with them and talked to them for sure.
What happened with your Anunnaki session?
Oh, it just appeared, and it appeared actually in this dimension, because of course the one I saw I think was in the other dimension when I was 4, but it appeared in this dimension, switched in this dimension, and I just commanded it to leave. I gave it a map of intent, and they have to leave then, and so it just disappeared. Because I didn't want don't want to contact malevolent beings. I want to be in contact with benevolent good guys, so which I am.
Well, I mean, you seem like you're one of them nice guys, so I mean, why not?
Well, yeah, why would you want to go with the horrible one? Yeah, but I'm in contact all the time with the Arcturians. We work closely with the Arcturians. The one that I work with is called Mark. He doesn't give his name, but they're doing some things with us at the moment, like projects that we can, we're going to bring on the planet eventually. So I'm kind of pretty excited about that.
All right, let's move on to another question here. Let's go to Andromeda again. What types of Anunnaki have you met? Did you stick around long enough to figure out what species of Anunnaki they would be?
No, I just saw them, it was like big, tall Anunnaki. I didn't look at the faction of them, for sure. But no, I just, if they ever come near me, because I know most of them are, like say, malevolent. They're here to manipulate you. And if they're coming in, then, I get rid of them now. Things like Mother Mary, the Melchizedek being that, I was talking to her. She's visited me a couple of times, so yeah.
What did it look like?
The Anunnaki?
Yes.
It was over about 10'4" tall-ish. I didn't measure it, but it looks a bit like a velociraptor, like a reptilian velociraptor, the one I saw. So that's the best way of describing it, about 10 foot tall. I mean, they're pretty crazy beings, and, and they're very powerful as well. So that's why I decided that, no, I don't want you around me, bye. So it went, so.
Yeah, I don't blame you kind of being a little bit scared of that.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a velociraptor, coming walking in your room. Well, hey, it's time for you to go. And I always get this power behind me, because you need, if you're going to command these beings to leave, you need absolute authority, It shows, hey, you just got to get out of my room now. I command you to leave right now. And I send them back to God with unconditional love and forgiveness. and then they're gone. It's like removing entities. You've got to make sure, like in a Christian church, in the name of the Lord, I command you leave. Well, that's great. So what the being does is detach from the body. It upsets it, so it's all feisty. And what happens is it wanders around the church and it just attaches to somebody else. What you've got to do is deliver them out of that church somewhere else. And that's where the portaling system comes in. I always send them up the portal back to the Melchizedek beings and let God decide, who's doing what. That's not for us to judge them. So yeah.
Yanni is asking, as we get about 4 minutes to go, is it all for Gnosis purposes still, like knowing?
I believe so, yeah. I think it is. Yeah. I think it's all about knowing.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's difficult to know.
Wouldn't that then, correct me if I'm wrong, mean that reincarnation is real, that we got to keep repeating until we get to that higher level spiritually?
Well, the thing is about it, the reincarnation, there's a few ways of reincarnating. When you pass at the moment, under the firmament, there's a place, they call it the postage stamp, but it's a place where the souls go. If you don't go to the right place, you're going to go to that reincarnation, you come straight back down, so you're stuck in a cycle. Now, if you're from a different dimension, I'm from a different dimension, other people like the Arcturians, and they're from the 12th or the 7th density. Whatever dimension you're from, you don't need to get stuck in that cycle. But then if you're a starseed, you tend to get your starseed family that when you pass away, they'll take you back to where you come from. For the average human being, if you're here to learn, if you don't understand that you have to look around, they'll put a fake mum and dad, in a fake, portal. And, again, it's all about, what frustrates me about this is you can't even pass in peace. You have to have discernment. Well, where the heck do I go? And it's not necessarily to mum and dad who might be fake. It's elsewhere, so always turn around. What you need to do is turn around. Don't look at the first light. Have a look and look back at the universe and see where you're supposed to go, and even ask for help. So yeah, but it's crazy.
Very much crazy indeed. But that's the crazy of what we do, Christopher Macklin.
I love it. I love crazy, actually.
2 minutes to go. I would like you to tell me about your website, okay, which is globalenlightenmentproject.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do a lot of things. I do one-to-one sessions, specialized groups. We have a lot of meditations, that really healing meditations. So you just have to sit there and, listen to it, and you'll feel the Melchizedek beings come in. We do 2 times a week. I do a healing, which is Thursday night, actually tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central Time, and Saturday 11 a.m. Central Time. And I do this because I know people are struggling, and I always make sure that everyone gets a healing. I run it for 4 hours. So we do it, it takes an hour, and then I run the whole thing for 4 hours. And, it works on a lot of things. Does it work on everything? No, but a lot of things. So it might really help you. And we get a lot of people on that. Probably about, with live, we get about 200 or 300, but in the week, we get about probably 1,600 people per healing session. So that's working on 3,000, healing sessions, plus obviously the one-to-one specialized groups. We do specialized groups where you get up to 20 people. I speak to everyone, and then we do the healing after. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and we just did the ceremony. If anyone wants to look at that, it's on Rumble, Global Enlightenment Project on Rumble. The ceremony is something where we basically counter the satanic manipulation. So what we're doing is, for every big pharma, big tech, big this, big that, big agriculture, satanic people in the government, satanic people in the military, everything else, manipulative, we bring them before God for justice and release them to God with unconditional love and forgiveness. In that way, there's no judgment. All we're doing is release them to Prime Creator, and let Prime Creator and God take care of them. So yeah, we do a lot of things, really. So bless your heart.
Chris, it's great to have you on Spaced Out Radio again. We appreciate your knowledge from Greenland all the way to alien abduction. It's been a great show. Coming up next on hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio, we're going to have Swamp Dweller. Then Robin Haynes will be here with the Q&A. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tight.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Chris, great job tonight, my man. I always appreciate having the opportunity to chat with you.
Oh, it's great. We'll do it again maybe in the future, bless your heart. And thanks to the audience as well. They've been great, bless them. So thanks for having me, guys. And just saying hi to the people in the Ozarks again. Or even in Arkansas. I mean, I'm only 1,000 feet from Arkansas, so
beautiful.
So thank you very much. Oh, thanks, Dave.
All right, take care, my friend.
God bless.
Christopher Macklin, everybody. I will be right back. And then we got Robin coming in. All right. I am back. Let's get the picture out of the way. Go from there. Let's bring in Robin Haynes.
Hey, sweetie.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. I had the day off today. Was working on my museum project and
Wonderful. I
And
want to
to-
hear about this haunted house stuff.
oh, we can talk about it.
I saw that on Facebook. So excited.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. J Truth Seeker, how are you? NT Gangster, how are you? And Oob to Joe's Main, you've got aliens. Hey, we want to ask all of you a favor. If you haven't already, hi, Blue Skies. If you haven't already, hit thumbs up. We try and get at least 100 per show. It helps with our algorithms. So we'd greatly appreciate if we could earn that from you. Thank you to our super chatters tonight, Matthew, Pam, and Little Cam. And of course, your great support. I see the numbers slowly going up on our Haunted 108 project on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Here we go, everybody. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We're glad to have you all with us as we prepare for Swamp Dweller and Robin Haynes coming on up. Hey, hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is VATIC. VATIC is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp.
My husband and I play music together, and in August 2017, we were on tour through Nevada and California. We decided after Reno that we'd drive through Yosemite to our next show in Fresno. We opted to take the arguably less scenic route, traveling down the California-Nevada border. By the time we made it to the 120 for Yosemite, it was dark. But since our van was our home and we didn't have to mess with the tent, we weren't that concerned. We figured we would just stop at the first campsite we saw along the route, park the van, and explore the next day. The further we go, the darker it seems to get. And for being one of the most populated national parks, it seems very dead. It's a little after 1 a.m., and while my husband continues to look for any sign of anything, I lean back and I start to doze off. While we slowly drive through these windy 2-lane forest roads, I feel the car slow to a stop, and the low music that we're listening to gets cut. I'm still leaning back, and I'm about to ask what's going on, but just as I started to speak, Ryan did too.
Amanda, look, do you see that?
I lean my seat up, and about 50 yards in front of us, partially lit by our headlights, is a figure standing on the side of the road, wearing all white, shoulders square, head down, but facing the direction we're approaching. Ryan asks if I think it's a ghost, and I'm genuinely considering it a possibility. We haven't seen a town, a person, or even a car for hours. There's just no reason for a person to be out here, especially so close to the road. Ryan slowly releases his foot from the brakes, letting the van crawl forward towards the figure standing on the side of the road. When our headlights cast a full light onto the entity, it's about 25 yards in front of us when Ryan leans pressure back on the brakes. It's a man, barefoot, wearing a white button-up shirt and flowy taekwondo-esque looking pants. His stoicism is unbroken as we approached. We just stared at him and he stared back at us. Clean cut, shaggy brown hair, mid-20s or 30s. He no longer resembled a ghost. The bottom cuffs of his pants were torn and dirty, and I thought that I could see a shadow behind him in the light. His hand wasn't outstretched as if he was hitchhiking, nor did he have any belongings with him. I don't know if he was even looking at us or just through us, like he was standing with his attention fixed, with or without a van shining its beams in his face, like his eyes, they didn't even squint when the light hit. Something felt so off. I remember saying my husband's name out loud in a tone that definitely conveyed concern. I know I wanted to speed up and get past this man. Without a word, Brian hits the gas and we zip past him. We both had goosebumps the remainder of that drive, and I was wide awake for the rest of it too. We drove for a while without stopping, but eventually we made ourselves turn into a campground, opting for a spot underneath what seemed to be the only streetlight in the entire place. If you're entering the park from the east, this was just before Tioga Pass, right before the east entrance of Yosemite.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every night. It's time for Robin.
Robin Haynes walks soft where the tall trees sway. She hears Bigfoot whisper what the wind won't say. Through the veil of the forest where the wild man plays, the Bigfoot psychic talks to Sasquatch every day. Only on Spaced Out Radio's Cryptic Q&A.
Robin Haynes, we love it when you are here. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I love it as well. You have the best audience, so then I get to hang out with you. How does it get better than that?
True. There's not much better than that in life. Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, only for you would I stay up this late because I'm on Eastern time.
I know, and I appreciate every time you do it. I do.
That's all right. I would for you any day of the week.
Thank you so much. You know, you have I owe you a thank you as well. And that's because you have quickly supported my new project. And for our radio listeners, I have started a brand new project here in my town. I live in a small town called 108 Mile Ranch, right here in central British Columbia. And in 2017, I started a ghost tour at our local museum to help raise money for the museum. And it was very successful. I took last year off because it was feeling like a job and it wasn't feeling like it was fun anymore. And that's where I kind of got addicted to the whole Flight 21 aspect. But this year, I have kind of been refocused, and I have did a proposal up for our local museum about bringing haunted paranormal tourism to our museum to help raise money for it, because our museum is not government subsidized like most museums are. It is strictly having to have volunteers come in and literally take care of the place. And so I figured, after doing some research of all of these locations across the United States, I figured, why can't we do that up here?
Yep.
So I did a presentation a week ago to see how the museum would respond. I provided facts and figures on different paranormal locations in the U.S., including the Lizzie Borden House, including Gettysburg, the Roswell Festival, Mothman Festival, all of these really, really cool places that bring in tens of thousands of people a year to these locations. And I figured we don't do enough of that around here. Our area is very haunted because we're right along the Gold Rush Trail, Robin. But our area also has a lot of cryptid activity, as you know, as well as UFO and alien contact activity. So I presented this proposition to our local museum, and they actually bought it. And they said, this sounds excellent. So I've put out 2 videos now from the museum. I've started an Instagram account. The Instagram account is the Haunted 108. X is at Haunted 108. And TikTok is Haunted _108 mile. And so far, pretty happy with the results. We've had a couple hundred views on the videos so far on each platform, which is nice. And also on Facebook, I should say, facebook.com/Haunted 108. That's 108, the numbers. And so I'm really thinking that, it's going to take a little bit of time for everything to take off. But I really believe that once we get the bed and breakfast going in the main house that we call the McNeil House, once we get going with our tours, our paranormal investigations, our movie nights, and everything, I think it's really going to take off. And I think it's going to provide a new way of tourism revenue for our area.
I think that's fantastic. I was so excited. I saw it on Facebook. Now that I know it's on TikTok, I'm going to be looking for it on TikTok so I can get hooked on with that too and follow you on TikTok. But I think this is fabulous. I really do. I think it's going to be a huge success. I'm like really excited to watch it and to see what transpires.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And, I'll be honest with you. I'm tired of working for the man, if that makes any sense. I love my daytime job. I love the company I work for during the day. But just once in my life, I love working radio. I shouldn't say just once in my life, because I do have a dream job in working in radio. Okay. But this project is something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I am scheduling around my Flight 21 addiction. Okay. And
yeah, you can't bail on them. They'll have a fit out there.
Oh, no. I'm not bailing on that whatsoever. It just means some rescheduling of what we are doing. That is the thing.
I think you have gotten to be so talented with the paranormal stuff and so in tune to it. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, think this is going to be fantastic. I really do. I'm really excited about it. Can't wait to watch you on this journey because I think you're going to do fabulous.
I hope so. I hope so. And I think that it will be something that we take on together. There's a few good people who are coming along for the ride. I have a new cameraman. His name is Mike. He will be along for the ride. My friend Mark is coming back for the ride as well. There's a couple of ladies who live north of me. They're into paranormal investigation and their names are Angelina and Tara. They're going to be joining on in, and I'm going to be looking for a couple more volunteers in our town who want to join the team as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. One of the legends at the heritage site, and I just put up a video of it today, if you want to check out any of our social media, it's on this lady named Agnes McVie. Now, Merle and I, over the years, have actually argued about Agnes. Okay. And here's the reason why. Many people claim to have spirit activity with Agnes. I don't believe, I shouldn't say I don't believe. I am more leaning towards Agnes being a tulpa than an actual person. So the question is, who is Agnes? Agnes and her husband ran what we call a post house. So back during the gold rush, every mile or two on the gold rush, they would have what they call a post house, kind of like a hostel. Today's words for it would be a hostel, where prospectors going up north, they could, feed their horses, they could have a bath, they could have a beer, a hot meal, a hotel room, and a bed to sleep on rather than sleeping on the ground. Okay. And they would have these post houses every mile or two. Well, allegedly, Agnes came across from Scotland. It is alleged that when she left Scotland, she was wanting to be tried for murder.
Oh, wow.
2 people. So she quickly got on one of the boats coming to Canada, made her way to the West Coast, eventually coming to British Columbia, where she settled in a place called New Westminster, which used to be the capital of British Columbia. There's record of her there. There is then record of her coming into the British Columbia interior and being in a city called Kamloops, which is 2 hours south of where I live and broadcast this show. But there is no record of her coming up here running a post house where she allegedly ended the lives of 62 prospectors.
Oh, wow.
Stealing their gold and keeping it for themselves. Because during that time, there was no police force in Canada. And eventually, the Northwest Mounted Police was created due to the violence that was happening on the Gold Rush Trail. And eventually, that turned into what we now know as the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or the RCMP. The term Mountie. They called Mounties because they used to have to mount up on their horses to ride on the horses to wherever they needed to go. So that is kind of how the history of Agnes comes along. Now, when the 108 area was built in the 1970s, where it was made as a getaway for rich people in Vancouver so they could build kind of a cottage country up here. And allegedly, the legend of Agnes McVie was created to give the town some legend and lore. And I know somebody who's lived here for 50 years, 50 plus years, who said that the family, the real estate family that developed the 108 Mile Ranch area, made it up to try and give a fun story for the area, give it a legend. And because people fed into that legend, that's where I think the tulpa was created. So is her energy there at the museum? I think so, but I'm not sure if it's the spirit of a person or the spirit of a tulpa. Your thoughts on that elongated story, Robin?
I'm fascinated by it. Like, that would be something that I would want to get into. But first off, even if she was a person, and let's say she wasn't there, the talk alone energetically would pull her there. It's just like with the cryptids. If you think about them and talk about them enough, they're drawn to you because energetically they feel through the consciousness that you connected with them. It would be the same thing, no matter if she was a person or a tulpa. So it's highly possible that she does have her energy there, which we know spirits are basically energy based. They get stronger the more energy they have. So I think that's fantastic. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
I'm curious to see how it's going to play out too. And it's all going to depend on how the public reacts to it. So we got a lot of big things coming over the next little bit.
Yeah, I've talked to spirits since I was 4, so this is exciting to me. Actually, I talked to him before that, but I remember it when I was 4.
I think it's going to be an exciting time too. And I'm really hoping that the public comes in, because what we are offering with the ghost tours is a lesson in our history of the Gold Rush Trail, the Gold Rush, through the spirits that are there.
How exciting is that? And I think it's going to expand it. Like, you may be starting out with her or various things, but it's going to just expand and get bigger.
I hope so.
Yeah, and the stories you can find out there are going to be tremendous.
Well, we're going to give it a try. Like in the next week or so, I within the end of this week, I'll have a schedule for our ghost tours. Then we got to start putting out our paranormal courses and our paranormal investigations, because there is a difference between the ghost tour and the paranormal investigation.
Yes.
Ghost tour, we do a little bit of investigating, try to make the lights go blinky on all our machines to make people ooh and ah, right? So that's it, and we're gonna make it happen. Joe is asking, are there any photos of Agnes from when she was alive? There's only like drawings of her, of what she may look like. I'm gonna try and pull one up here. I think there's one photo of her.
Did they say how she killed these people?
Every which way you could figure.
Because I keep getting a vision of it, so I just was curious.
Tell me about it. I'll tell you if you're right or not.
What I keep getting is I keep seeing this woman, and she's like chopping up bodies. Like, she's literally chopping up bodies. Like, it's really disgusting, but she is.
Where did she put?
I see them in bins. It looks like barrels and bins, and it's got like a rectangular shaped thing that has a top on it, but she cut it all up. I mean, it literally looks like ground hamburger from a butcher shop. Like, she literally ground the stuff up because she didn't want anybody to know she had killed them. And I'm not getting dumping of bodies. I'm literally getting these bodies totally mutilated, chopped up, cut up. I see barrels that she's put them in. I see a rectangular thing that she put them in, and there was a top on it. Looks like she's in some kind of a shack with almost like a dirt floor.
There is word that behind the museum there is a lake that she threw the chopped bodies up into the lake.
So she did chop some up.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I'm seeing is this. They're being chopped up, but I see them in a barrel. Now she got to dump the barrel in, like, as far as that goes. But that rectangular thing is really weird because it looks like a well of some kind. Like, you can't see the bottom on it. It looks like bricks that are made into this rectangular thing, and it has a top on it. But she literally, when I say she chopped these up, she chopped these up. Like, this looks like ground dog food. They're that chopped up.
So do you get her being real, or do you get her being...
I get her real.
Really? That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I'm quite happy to hear that, to be blunt.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to sometime try to talk to her, because if I can get her to talk, I can get her to talk. I mean, she doesn't mean she will.
Why don't you try that during the break here, as we're about to go to break here on Spaced Out Radio. The Cryptic Q&A, Robin Haynes is here, as she is every single week. We'll be right back.
This is Spaced Out Radio, and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Okay.
Necessary dialogue. So the bodies are somewhere to be found, right? We don't know. That's part of the mystery. If she isn't real, there would be no bodies. If she is real, I mean, over time, over 100 plus years, there's going to be a lot of movement in the lakes. There's going to be a lot of movement in the ground and everything, where those bodies right now, if she was disposing of them, they would be up in the hills, probably buried 4 to 12 feet deep by now. So it is very interesting,
Yeah,
but go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wish I knew what this rectangular thing is, because it's really bugging me. Like there's like a tannish brick that outlines it, but it's almost like it's a hole that goes down, because I don't see a bottom in it. It's almost like, instead of like, if you were to have a well, you know how it goes down, but this isn't round. This is rectangular shape, and it's got like a light tannish brown brick, and there's almost like a board that goes over the top of it.
Right.
But I definitely saw her putting cut up body parts, and I mean cut up into tiny, tiny pieces. Like if she dumped these in the lake, you would never know there's a body. And you're like, these things are like if you were to put it through a meat grinder, cut up.
Right. Well, let me try something here. Hold on. Where's that photo? Okay, we'll put that one up. And then let's go like this. Where are you? That one. And one more here. So this is what Agnes looked like, guys. Right there. That's what she looked like. That's the only known photo of her.
Did they tell you how many people she killed?
62, allegedly. And then this is the old post house across this, what is now across the street from the heritage site. This house right in the middle has been moved. There was the slanted rectangular area off the house, Robin. Okay, that eventually burned away in a fire, and then they moved the house.
That's really crazy that you say that, because before, and honest, I'm not making this up. This is the God's honest truth. Before you showed me the picture, I kept seeing fire. And I couldn't understand that, because I watched her cut these bodies up and put them in the barrel.
Yeah.
But I kept seeing fire. And I didn't know if maybe she had burned some or what.
There's the secondary picture of.
She says nobody knew she came there.
Well, save those messages. We'll get to them when we get back. Cool. Fun times.
Yeah. I come in handy once in a while.
This is also the same post house that Merle got the name of a demon inside one of the rooms.
I wonder if that's connected to her. Like maybe she had a demon in her.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys.
Now I'm going to yawn because you did.
Yep. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're forgiven.
We got about 45 seconds. I'm going to put up a picture of the current post house here too, because you might want to read that. Okay.
Okay.
So bear with me. Thank you tonight to Matthew, Pam Harris, and Little Cam for the super chats. Our store is open on our website, spacedoutradio.com. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. And if you don't wear our stuff, this is what you'll end up looking like. Right there.
I
Here we go.
love it.
We're to the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. It's the Cryptid Q&A with Robin Haynes. We're going to get going right now. And Robin, you had stated before the break that you were kind of tuning on the legend of Agnes McVie. So,
Yeah.
What were you getting?
Well, when you were talking about her, I kept hearing a voice in my head screaming, "What do you want with me? What do you want with me?" And I kind of just was more focused on what you were saying. I wasn't really paying attention. And then that's when I got the vision of her. Literally, it was bloody, it was gory, cutting up these bodies in little tiny pieces, putting it in the barrels. Then I saw her throwing heads. It looked more like heads with hair on them, as well as some of the bigger body parts down this hole. It was like a shaft. I got the fire. I didn't see her burning them, but I did see a fire in there. I kept getting fire. Now, could she have burned some? Absolutely. But I know she definitely cut them all up in little tiny pieces. And I mean little tiny pieces. She did say that when she came there, she said nobody knew it was her. I asked her, I said, why would you kill all those people? And she said, why would I not? And I said, but why? What did they ever do to you? And she said they existed. So why she would say that, I don't know. That's just what I was told, what she said.
Are you still tuned into her?
Yes. You also, Dave, you need to check on other names of people that came in around the same time that she would have, because she says when she first got there, nobody knew her by her name. She said, are you kidding me? They would have already known. She killed before she ever got there. That wasn't the first place she killed people.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay, so when she came there, she said she used a different name. I don't quote me on this because I don't necessarily, she feels like pure evil, so I doubt she's very truthful. Check for names that might be Anne, Anne.
Okay.
But I'm not promising you that that's it, because that's just what she's telling me, and she's pretty vile. So
where is she on the grounds right now?
see if I can get she says, I never left those grounds. Okay, she's behind the house, and whatever that building is that's closest to the back of the house.
Okay. That is our bunkhouse.
Lovely. Well, there's a building that's behind the house, and she walks in there. I don't necessarily know if she stays in there all the time, but she's definitely back there right now.
Where's her gold hidden?
She says, as if I'd ever tell you.
She can't keep it where she is.
I know. Doesn't she know what it's worth right now?
Tell her. Did you know, Agnes, did you know that gold, as we're trying to communicate with the spirit of Agnes McVie through Robin Haynes here, average ounce of gold right now is about $4,100 an ounce.
She said she only has part of it. There was a man with blonde hair that helped her, and she gave him part of the gold. He was supposed to help bring people to her. She said 47 of those people she killed with her bare hands, but I don't know how. I mean, if she killed a man, they would overpower her in a minute. So that doesn't make much sense, but that's what she said.
Not if they were passed out drunk.
That's true. She's showing me stabbing. She's showing me, it looks like a meat cleaver, blows to the head. Like, she's pretty graphic, and she's not real shy about it. She seems to be pretty proud about it.
Wow. She's a beauty.
She's a gem, that one.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But she said she came into town because she had killed where she was at before, and people were starting to figure out it was her. So she left. That's why she ended up where she did. And when she came into town, she did not give them her real name. But she keeps showing this blonde-headed guy. And apparently something about and I know this sounds stupid because she wasn't an overly attractive woman, but something about making a play for this guy so that he would help her. And then she also promised him that she would bring him unlimited wealth. So that has to be the gold. She didn't specify gold. She said unlimited wealth was the words that she used. And then when I asked her about the gold, she said she didn't have all of it. Part of it went to her lover or some bloody thing, but this guy helped bring people to her.
Ask her who Willie is.
Maybe that's the guy.
I don't think I know we believe he was one of her henchmen, but
that's got to be the blonde haired guy. Do you have a picture of Willie?
I do not.
She said, I used whoever I needed to fulfill my task. She acts like she was told to do this, but there wasn't anybody. She acted on her own. I mean, she had these guys help her.
What about her husband?
She said he was a simpleton. He never knew anything. She said, all I used him for was to cover what I was doing. She killed him. Does it say how he died?
No, I would have to figure that out.
Because she has something to do with his death, because she said, I got rid of him too when he wasn't useful. So I don't know how he died, but there's something that she did that either helped it along or she did it or somebody got blamed for it, but she was the bottom of it.
Interesting. Very interesting. How about Mary?
She'll talk to me about Mary. She said, you need to leave Mary alone.
No.
Why is she so upset about Mary? Was Mary another spirit that was there that didn't have anything to do with her?
What we believe happened with Mary was during the Gold Rush Trail time and the Gold Rush, there was a lot of young women who were kidnapped and turned into prostitutes at post houses. And then when they tried to escape or they tried to leave or they tried to act out, a lot of them were just disposed of. And we believe that Mary was one of those girls, and that Willie in the opposite room of Mary in the post house was in love with Mary.
Well, as soon as you said Mary, she went nuts. And she's like, you don't need to, you basically stay away from Mary.
Yeah.
You don't need to know about Mary. Like, she's really secretive about this. So whatever happened to Mary, she is very well aware of, and she's not saying a thing, but she jumped on that right away.
In a defensive way of Mary or a defensive way of herself?
Just defensive of, you don't need to know about what happened to Mary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can try later on to see what I can get out of her.
Well, we're hot on topic right now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. These guys, the blonde guy too, and whoever Willie is, whether he's the blonde guy or whoever he is, they were terrified of her. Like, it started out where they thought that she was interested in them, and that was going to be like a lover or some kind of romantic thing. And then the more they would help her and they saw what she was doing, they were terrified. Like they would help her because they didn't want to be next one that ended up cut up.
Yes, we've heard she was that evil.
She burned somebody alive
Wouldn't be surprised.
because she's showing me burning somebody. Something
That-
about nobody would cross her. She said nobody lived to cross me.
No, she was the only one in the area.
But if you were to investigate her husband's death, I mean, I don't know what it will show on how he died, but according to her, she had something to do with it.
I'm curious about the Mary thing. Was she jealous of Mary?
Yes.
Can you get an image of what Mary looked like?
She says Mary was prettier than her. She had long, dark hair. I don't know who Mary is, so I'm just telling you what she's saying. I could be wrong. She said long hair. She said men found her very attractive. She said men never looked at me like that. She's very jealous of Mary's looks.
We've been able to figure out through communication with Mary that Mary was between the age of about 18 and 23. She had strawberry blonde hair, from what we've been able to confirm through intuition.
She's showing me somebody with long, straight hair, but I can't say it's strawberry blonde. It looks like it's a darker color. It's not dark like mine, but it looks more like a darker color is what she's showing me, but it's long, straight hair.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know who that person is.
Mary used to be our most popular spirit. She actually, prior to a dark intuitive coming into the building and crossing her over when she didn't want to cross over, Mary used to allow our ghost tour people to actually come close to her and touch her. And since this dark intuitive came in and kind of sent her away, we were able to sort of get her back. Okay. And she's never been the same. She has a real lack of trust.
Well, according to her, she said everybody liked Mary. She was jealous of her. She said she was younger, she was prettier. She keeps saying that Mary would dance with everybody. I don't know why she's bringing up dancing, but she is. She said everybody liked having her around. And she said they were never like that with me. She said I wasn't pretty. I wasn't overly pretty. When she was young, she said that her mom would hit her a lot. She was never popular.
Right.
At all. Now, I don't know what her background or her family is, but from what she's saying, it's not good. Said her father was an alcoholic, drank all the time.
That would make sense.
But she's like, Mary triggers her. Mary might have a sense of being apprehensive if she's there.
It never bothered Mary until this psychic lady moved her on without her permission.
But she didn't want to leave.
Right.
Like I've helped people cross over before, but I do it differently. Like you have free will, whether you're a spirit, whether you're a person, a cryptid or whatever. You don't force anything to cross over or do something against their will. I mean, seriously, the laws are very clear. It's free will. It's like even with the work that I do, and the work that I do on people, the energy work and stuff, I'm not allowed to do that without their consent, or if it's a life and death situation to save somebody. So you can't just go in and force something like that. No wonder she's angry. She's very attached to that place. Do you know if Mary had a child from one of these men?
From what we know, she did not have any children. However, the dark psychic lady claimed that she had 2 sons, that she was crossing them over to try and to try and get her to the other side. But out of all the people who read into Mary prior to that, never mentioned kids.
I do not see 2 sons. I see an infant. And it may not be Mary's, but Mary was taking care of it. And that infant was killed. And by whatever that gal's name is. And Mary doesn't want to leave because that infant was there, is what I'm getting. But I don't see 2 sons with her. I'm sorry. I'm not saying anybody is wrong and I'm right. I'm just saying I'm not getting 2 sons with her. I'm seeing an infant that's a little, I can't tell if it's a girl or a boy, but it's an infant. Now, whether Mary gave birth to it or not, Mary took care of that infant. And the older gal not only killed Mary, she killed that baby.
So
that's why Mary doesn't want to leave.
We got about 5 minutes to go before we need to go to break here, or call it the night here. Wow, this show has flown on by. I'm curious. Willie knows his strength. Okay, Willie's upstairs protecting Mary. But there is another spirit in the post house that we call the Blue Man. He's a black shadow being with a blue outline. I've never seen him. Other people have.
Does he glow? I mean, does he have like a glow to him? Because there are light men, which are energetic beings that are of the light. I would also find out how close Willie was with Mary, because I keep getting that baby could have been from Willie and Mary. And what's her name? The old woman that did all this kept Mary hidden away so nobody knew that baby was hers.
Could be.
I'm sorry, that's what I'm getting. And I'm not saying I'm right on everything. I'm just telling you this is what I'm getting. And she's talking 90 miles an hour. I see Mary being kept in a room until she had this baby. So there would be no record that Mary had this baby. But that's why Willie's so protective of Mary. And that's why Mary never wanted to leave, was because the baby was killed there.
So can we get Mary back to being normal? Like coming up and interacting with our people again?
I would think over time. Right now, she's just scared somebody's going to come in and make her leave her child.
It's been 7 years.
Doesn't matter. Spirits have no sense of time. Time only works in our world. It doesn't work in theirs, and it doesn't work in cryptids.
Right.
Spirits know no time. So as far as Mary's concerned, it's still the same day that she got made to leave. I mean, talking to her obviously is going to help. Letting her know that she's welcome to stay there with her child, because that child was supposed to be a secret that nobody ever knew of. The only reason I found out about it was Mary. And because the old woman was having a fit about it.
True. True. And what about the Blue Man then?
See if I can find out what he is.
He
He's
doesn't
just
like to communicate.
No, he's just something that comes over there and he watches the house. He watches over what goes on there. That's all he's going to do. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot. He seems to be just some kind of a dimensional thing that comes in. When you have that much sorrow, when you have that much emotion, whether it's a good emotion or a bad emotion, you draw in other beings. And he's drawn in from the sorrow in that house.
Yeah, I do believe there is a portal in that part of the
Go
house
up,
too.
go upstairs. Like if you're facing the house, there's an upstairs, correct?
Yes.
If you're facing the house, it would be upstairs, left-hand side, back corner that would face the back of it.
Okay.
And that's where I would see it because that's where the energy from it's coming.
We have about a minute to go, Robin. About a minute and a half. And I really appreciate you kind of going in on this.
Yeah, I hope it helps.
Oh, it will. It will.
All I can give you is what they tell me
No, I appreciate that.
and what they show me.
Do you think then that the spirits are going to welcome the tour back?
I think they're going to be hesitant at first. I think it'll be okay. I would be prepared to get a little bit of pushback from them at first, and maybe now and then, but I don't think they're going to be too serious about harming anybody, more or less trying to rattle everybody's chains. I would do a lot of talking to them.
Started that today.
Good. Continually talk to them. Let them know it's very important that you tell them that you are not wanting them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to share, just like you do with the cryptids, you're going to share space. You're not wanting anybody to leave.
Absolutely. Robin, tell everybody where they can find you.
Sure. If you want to just talk to me, you can find me under Robin Haynes, Haynes, no middle initial, on Facebook. If you want services, sessions, or anything like that, then you can find me at www.paranormal-empowerment.com. Or if you can't find that, you can still find me on Facebook and just let me know you want a service.
Love you, Robin. Thank you for
I love
taking
you
care of us
too.
tonight as we say goodnight to Robin. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X and hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friend,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. All right. Let's get this wrapped up here. Robin, if you could stick around for just a couple of minutes. Just got a couple museum questions to ask you. For the rest of you, Science Bob will be in tomorrow night. Big thank you to Kmart, to Deborah Rooney, to Matthew, to Pam, and to Little Cam for the super chats. Thank you to everybody who gave us a thumbs up. Do me a favor, guys. If you don't mind, tell me what you thought about tonight's show in the comments below, because I love interacting with you guys, and I want to know what you think. So let's get ready for Science Bob tomorrow night. We're going to have some fun, and we'll see you very, very soon.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.